Mums at the Table. It's good to have you with us. I'm here with Shona. How are you?
I'm good.
It's good. Now, we're talking about friendships today.
We are.
We are, but before we do that, I want to share with you what's happening on the show today.
Oh, what's happening?
So we've got our women's health segment with Dr. Wood, so he'll be coming in to chat to Fiona. We've got...
Amanda?
Oh, Amanda's here, yes, our dietitian, and Dr. Simone, our GP, so answering some of the questions you've been sending in. But let's get back to our friendship. Now, have you found life changes, you know, whatever sort of season you're going through, whether it be work or, you know, moving around or whatever, but did you notice that your friendships changed after you had kids?
Yes.
Yeah, how so? Like, was it a distinct change? Were you on your own having kids? Were your friends having kids and you sort of lost them as friends?
Well, I think because I went from working to then having kids, and so I no longer had my work friends who I was, you know, socialising with, and it's a little bit isolating. And then I had to try and work out how to make new friends. So I had to make new friends inside the church because they were the ones who were having kids at the same time as we were. Yeah.
It's interesting where you sort of gravitate to. And, you know, the thing is at school you're there for, what, 12, 13 years. You sort of go through with the same people. You have these solid friendships. And then you're outside the world and there's all these opportunities through whether it's further study or jobs or, you know, becoming a mum or whatever that sort of take you through these different paths. And you have to learn to sort of make friends, adjust. Interesting thing about making friends with other mums is that we're all different ages.
Yes.
But we're all sort of in a similar boat.
Yes.
You know?
All struggling. Keep our heads above water.
Yeah, and it's you look at younger mums and you're like, oh man, that looks so much easier, and then they look at older mums and go, oh man, that looks, you know, so much more financially viable. But it's an interesting journey, and I actually have really appreciated it. How have you found it?
I think if I was to be really honest, I think I've struggled. I struggled in those first few years with the kids and not taking on the friendships probably as well as I should have, because there's all that, oh, well, my baby's doing this and my baby's doing that. And, you know, there's all this judgment period that goes around having small children.
And competitiveness or, you know, comparing.
But like I said earlier, I've built my friendships around my son's friends. Yeah. So I'm friends with the parents of my children's friends, and I think that is a really good, has been a really good thing for me because I've been able to keep track of the boys, but also it's given us things that we can talk about, like-minded parents.
Do you think social media weighs into this in any way in terms of making friendships or reconnecting with older friends that sort of you might have lost touch with?
Well, you're asking me. I'm
not social media. I was going to say, and I guess it helps create that village, and things can be negative, things can be positive, but if we continue to make those connections with people face-to-face as well as online, I think we build our own village and it can make, you know, that circle really big and really valuable. If you are looking for a group, you are welcome to join our Facebook group. It's a Mums at the Table. It's a private Facebook group. We would love to have you there and we can champion you as well.
Hey, thanks for joining Dr. Simone and I for a chat. We're talking about that fun part of parenthood, nits, lice, all that.
Oh, look, that's the stuff that no one warns you about.
Yeah, it's something that I guess as a mum, I've become so like...
And just hearing about it just makes you want to scratch.
Yeah, you get
you just want to...
I actually have, I use a preventer on my girls' hair. Because I've got 4 children, 4 girls, I'm not mucking around.
No.
So we're just preventing before they even get nits. Well, that's the goal anyway.
So look, most daycares, most preschools, most primary school teachers, it can happen in high school, but definitely to a lesser extent, are really vigilant. And so, like, we've had, my daughter's had, we've had notes come home saying, you know, there's nits in the classroom, check your kids. If they're affected, treat them. Otherwise, the things that we can do to try and minimise the spread. Nits like jumping from hair to hair.
Now, is it clean hair, dirty hair?
Nits love clean hair.
Right.
And if hair is out and free, then they will find it easier to make their way into new hair than if hair is tied back and contained, shall we say. So if nits love clean hair, that's not to say that we don't wash hair for a month. That's to say that we can mimic the effect of dirty hair. And so if you've got a kid, if you've got a girl, then tie their hair. If they've got hair long enough to tie back, plait it, hairspray.
Oh, okay.
Hairspray helps to mimic, it makes the hair sticky and it helps to mimic dirty hair.
Right.
And so the nits don't like dirty hair and they're less likely to stick. They slide off.
So that's I guess, a cheaper alternative than
Heaps cheaper.
what I'm using. It's a product from Move. It's a hair product.
Look, if your kid actually develops head lice or nits, then those products are brilliant. They're time-consuming.
Yeah, and they cost a lot of money, but it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, there's the Move type products and, and the permethrin-based. There's also the old-school fashion method.
But are they good long-term for your child's hair?
You want to use them as minimally as you can, and so you treat them, and then you hopefully get rid of them, and then you just keep monitoring for it. Right. The old-school way is with like a really big tube of conditioner and a very fine tooth comb and your kid watching something on a device so that you can comb through almost every strand of their hair individually. Okay. And it is important once you have treated to keep checking and also treat the whole family because these things can spread so easily.
I know they have linen products that you can wash their pillows and blankets when if an outbreak does happen.
The sanitisers and those sorts of things are a really useful thing to utilise as well.
Oh, great. Okay, so I guess the message here is prevent. You can prevent by hairspray is a great way.
Absolutely.
And you're not guaranteed, even if their hair is clean, it can
keep the hair tied. Look, keeping the hair tied back, especially with longer hair, is a great option anyway.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Simone, for those tips. I hope that's helped you.
Hi guys, we are back with some more nutritional information. If you like these segments, please like us on Facebook or follow us on YouTube and subscribe. Amanda, welcome.
Hi, dear.
Today we're going to talk about some snacks for mums, okay? So not for the kids, but for mums on the go.
Yes.
And we just want to understand, like I would like to ask, some tips on how to choose a snack for a mum? Like.
Well, I think this is a really important one because whether we're at work or running around with the kids, most of us need some snacks, don't we? Just to give us some extra energy and to help get us through to that next meal. I know I certainly need a snack just to get me through. So there are 3 things that you need to think about when choosing a snack. So firstly, is it nutritious?
Okay.
So try and choose a snack that is contributing valuable nutrients to your diet overall. So something with protein, fibre, vitamins and minerals.
Your good fats.
Yeah, good fats, that sort of thing. So a way to do this is to try and choose foods that fit into the main food groups. So fruit, veggies, grains, dairy, that sort of thing. And then the other thing you can think about is there anything that I'm missing in my diet that I'm not having enough of? And
that can be your snack.
And try and make up for that with your snacks.
That's really good.
So if you're not having enough fruit, have some fruit for your snack.
That's a really good tip. I like that one.
Yeah. And then the second thing is portions. How much am I eating between meals as well? Okay. So even if you're having great healthy snacks, it's important to be mindful of how much you're having because even too much of healthy things can contribute too much energy, more than your body needs.
Okay, even of the good stuff, yeah.
And then the third thing, and really important as well, is it quick? Is it easy? When you're a really busy mum, you don't have much time to make snacks, do you? You just want something you can grab, eat and
I'm with you on that one. That's my life story. So can you give us some ideas? I can see we've got some stuff here.
Yeah, so we've got a piece of fruit never goes astray, some veggie sticks and hummus, nuts, or even you can make yourself a little trail mix there. And something you can do is ahead of time, you could make yourself a little snack bag. And this also helps with portioning as well. So you don't just, eat a couple of handful of nuts. You can even make yourself a trail mix. And something that's great to do is to pre-pack some of your snacks. So with, say, the nuts or the trail mix.
Like at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, at the beginning of the week, you could pack a few bags or little containers. And that's really good for controlling portions as well. Something like popcorn is also great.
You can have a
couple of handfuls of popcorn.
Popcorn's awesome because you can eat lots of it.
That's right. I love popcorn.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yogurt. Now you've got these ones that you can just grab and have it in the car if you want to. Just check the sugar content with those.
I love those.
These, you can buy little packs of roasted beans like chickpeas, so delicious. Or just a piece of toast, some whole grain crackers with some tomato or rice cakes with some avocado.
I think this is what we're going to eat at the end of this show. So we're going to say goodbye now. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks for joining Dr. Peter Wood and I for a chat. We're talking about cervical screening. Pap smears.
Again, something we don't talk about on TV very much, but it's super important.
Yeah.
Australia has one of the best cervical screening programs in the world.
Good to know.
And when they introduced the Pap smear program 20 or 30 years ago, it drastically reduced cervical cancer.
Right.
It's a nuisance to have that examination.
Yeah.
No one likes it.
It's very uncomfortable.
It's not comfortable.
No.
And there are a few things you can do to try and
so
make
people
it
would
experience
avoid.
better.
People would avoid.
Because it's just like no one wants to go there,
So
right?
how often should we be checking?
Firstly, we'll talk about how to go through this examination without actually getting killed, right? So I would recommend that you go to somebody that you know and trust. Because having that trust situation in a safe environment, you're more likely to find it less uncomfortable. If you go to a complete stranger, or if you struggle with these examinations, that maybe not make it difficult for you. In Australia, the cervical screening program starts at age 25.
Oh, okay.
Or if you have unusual bleeding symptoms like bleeding after intercourse or bleeding in between your periods that can't be explained.
I thought you were supposed to get cervical screening or pap smears done after, you know, when you've had intercourse or something like that. What's the rule? Oh, okay.
So it's changed recently because now we're actually doing a test looking for HPV, which is a virus, because we know that nearly all cases of cervical cancer are associated with some types of HPV, human papillomavirus. And so if you don't have that virus there, then you are so low at risk of having any cervical cancer that we can test you every 5 years.
That's what they're looking for?
Nowadays, they're looking for HPV virus. They're doing a test to see if there's virus there or not. If the virus is there, then there's further testing that can be done.
Okay.
So if you do the test and there's no viruses there, then you're sorted out for 5 years.
5 years.
So that's what's really important.
So we don't have to get uncomfortable for another 5 years.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, but if there is a virus there, then there may be further testing to be done.
Okay.
That may involve doing a repeat test in 12 months' time, or it may involve going and seeing a gynaecologist and having a procedure called a colposcopy. And what a colposcopy is basically a pap smear that takes longer. That's all. It's nothing scary. It's just looking very carefully at the cells in your cervix and taking a biopsy if we need to. All of this can be done, you know, in a comfortable way.
Yes.
But the trick is to do it, right? Because in Australia, the only women who get cervical cancer are those who haven't had a pap smear in the last 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
And so it's just a simple thing to benefit you. And the program in Australia has radically reduced the risk of cervical cancer and the incidence of cervical cancer.
So after 25, after the age of 25, women should be getting this test done
every 5 years.
And then get it done every
5 years, unless there's an abnormality, then it'll be done earlier.
Okay, so important. We need to get ourselves checked out.
Just got to do it.
That's right. Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Wood, for your time. And look, get yourself checked out, ladies. It's so important to keep ourselves healthy. Keep it locked right here. Mums at the table for this information and more women's health issues and more.
Okay, so we've talked about, I guess, the isolation and the loneliness of becoming a mum, but is it something that you actually expected? Did you feel like you came into motherhood going, yep, I've got my friends, I know how this is going to roll, or was it a bit of a shock to you, the whole loneliness and isolation thing?
I think it was probably... I think there was an expectation that it would be me climbing the mountain for a little while, but I do think I expected to have more friendships along the way. I did expect to have not so much maybe a village, but maybe an igloo or two. You know, maybe some people around me. Yeah. And I found that not to be the case. I found that... especially with the first one, because he was a sick baby, that people were just too scared to be around me, didn't know what to say, didn't know how to say it.
And that must have been incredibly isolating.
Yeah, it was, because we were 4 weeks in the hospital before we even got home. Wow. So, yeah, it was quite isolating.
And that's a really, different journey.
And I think, too, because, when most people have their babies, they're out of hospital within maximum 7 days. And so we're all gooing and garring over a baby. And then when we brought ours home, he was tiny and he was, not doing so well. So I think people were just scared to be around us.
Yeah, and it makes it a really different journey, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was an incredibly hard journey.
Was it very different to your second?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
More people around then?
Yeah. And I think too because, just a whole different, whole different journey.
Yeah. I was naive, and I don't think I expected the loneliness as much as there was. And it's not that I didn't actually have people around me. I had people and family around me, but I still found it very isolating and lonely because I struggled with so many things, from breastfeeding to the sleep, and no one else can carry that for you, and it is incredibly isolating. And I found myself hiding in my shell at home, and it wasn't until a few years in where I really had to force myself out there and, you know, to start on social media, even that, getting into groups and that sort of thing.
So if you had to do it again, and words of wisdom, what would you do differently?
I think I would actually start preparing some of those village and friendships before I had kids, you know, talk about those things. I think we just wait till we get there.
Yeah.
So we'll catch you next week.